Welcome, everybody, back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. I have in front of me, or around me, whatever you want to call it, the holy trinity of the sports affiliation. We've got Iggy, JC, and Evan here holding down the reins. And gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being another part of the Fantasy Football Expo. I've already dubbed you guys the official marketing department of the Fantasy Football Expo. You guys just crush it all the time. Countdown days, retweets, tweets, whatever it is. You guys are just so awesome, and I so appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here, and we'll just go around, just introduce yourself, talk about a little bit, just briefly about what you do as part of the sports affiliation, and then we'll kind of get to our special questions. So, JC, we'll start with you, man.
I just want to say, we appreciate that, the honor of getting that, the marketing,
You guys kind of earned that. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, man,
I don't know if anybody wanted the title, but you guys just took it and grabbed it and ran with it. So.
Let's go. Hey, man, I'm just going to say we absolutely appreciate what you do for this community, getting to bring a bunch of people together, giving people an opportunity to see and hear or even talk to, people that they only see or hear, on YouTube or Twitter. And it's kind of a great, it's like I like to call it, a family reunion where everybody likes the same thing.
Exactly.
It's literally a blast. And I appreciate you letting us come on. I'm JC. So I'm one of the co-founders of the sports affiliation. I kind of been doing this for, about 5 years, doing just content on up and on graphics. So that's kind of how I got into the industry, was doing a little bit of graphics here and there, and then jumping onto some shows. And that's kind of how Iggy and I and Evan met. But I'll let Evan jump in here.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm Evan. These guys and everybody else know me as SoCal. I'm in San Diego, so kind of that's the name. That's what people know me as. More SoCal than Evan, I'm sure, and that's fine with me. It's got a nice ring to it. I met these guys a couple years, maybe 2 years ago. Kind of first time I ever was introduced to Twitter. I just kind of hopped on, and there was a space going on, if you will, and it was a football space. And anybody that knows me knows I love to talk sports, and we'll grab a mic, and I did, and met these two guys right after that. Basically, they told me what they were into. And we were at a different place at that time, but we've been kind of riding together, since that point, branched off, started the sports affiliation. And you'll catch me, man, writing, speaking, pretty much football, basketball, baseball, whatever's on my mind that day, I'm going to drop something on my timeline. And I'm just an avid sports junkie, man. So
Love it. Love it. Iggy, how you doing, brother?
Good, Bob. Thanks for having us here today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I've been to the Expo twice. JC there 2 years ago. We knew each other before that, but it really formed a really solid friendship. And then Evan, like you said, we've been knowing each other for a couple of years as well. So interesting how it all kind of came together through the Expo. The first year I drove all the way from essentially the south border of Colorado and then all the way to the eastern Ohio. It was quite an experience, but it's going to be my third year to go. I'm really happy to be there. Co-founder for the Expo, also IDP panel last year. I plan to be on it this year. Ray hasn't said anything, but I'll be back on there. And then, King's Classic. I worked my way into the King's Classic just by creating content, being a good person and going to the Expo. So you got to go.
There it is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, appreciate all you guys. All right, well, so let's talk about the beginning for all of you. Not you kind of already talked about your beginning of you all coming together, but talk about the beginning of fantasy football for each of you. When did it start? What year? How many years you've been playing? Who got you into it? Was a friend, a parent, whatever, neighbor, work? How did you guys all get started? Iggy, we'll start with you, man.
Yeah, I went in 2010. I remember my neighbor Mark, who's still my friend, and I still play fantasy football with this year. And I quit my my league of record to create Fantasy Football Sevens, a charity league that TSA is pretty sponsors as well. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, he had to like basically twist my arm as a neighbor. He was a big Eagles fan. You know, he still is a big Eagles fan. You know, I'm a big Packer fan. I was like, no, I just want to watch the Packers. I just want to enjoy it. He's like, no, man, play fantasy, play fantasy. Love it. As soon as we played 2 weeks, I was hooked. And he was the commissioner of that league. We were in college, so not a lot of care from him. But, you know, I went into it. Next year, I became commissioner, made IDPs the next year. So we've been playing IDP since 2011. Had 6 starters back then. Still have to have 6 starters today. And yeah, I can't imagine where my life would be without fantasy football. And it's weird they that place got bulldozed down and they built something huge there. But I always think about that particular spot. I think about the parties we had there, and I think about fantasy football because there was about 6 of us living in this like small little apartment complex. And yeah, we always talk fantasy football. We're having parties, man. So I went to
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We all live for those days again.
yeah.
Evan, talk about your start in the fantasy football world.
Yeah, so mine started, man, I aged myself a little bit, probably about 22 years ago. I mean, I'm 38 now, and it was high school, man. I played multiple sports. A bunch of my friends were also, sports junkies, if you will, already at that point. That's all we did, right? Run around the neighborhood playing after practice, before practice, and the Yahoo Fantasy Football kind of came around like sophomore year. We started a league with like 10 guys, and we just started doing it year after year, kind of with the same group. I think we had the same group of guys for probably a good 10, 12 years before I think we even rotated anybody out. And there's still, I think, 7 or 8 of us from that group that are still in the league. It's expanded to 12, of course. And it's just a basic redraft. I mean, as simple as it was, the way it started, the days of Priest Holmes and the duo of Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. And, when you didn't want to have those guys, because championship week was when those guys would sit out at the end of the season, right? But
they cleaned their division, right? Yeah.
And so, man, just been playing that ever since. Met other people through working in the restaurant business, played in some leagues, and then it wasn't until I met these guys really that I even got into playing like Dynasty or IDP. It was kind of you mentioned like people being close to the Expo, not knowing about it. It's like being so involved in the fantasy football world, and I am and was. But before I got on Twitter or X, I really didn't even know really much about IDP and Dynasty. I played Dynasty baseball and have for about 20 years because I happen to meet kind of the right people offline, but never football. And so I guess the obsession's been the same, but the amount of teams and type of leagues I've been in the past couple of years and now is just a little bit different.
Definitely. Very cool. JC, how did it all start for you, brother?
So I actually started playing fantasy football when I was in the Air Force. That's the people who got me into it is there. So it was kind of, a brotherhood in the Air Force. And it was like, all right, we're going to kind of compete, and do something, and where I was at in Okinawa, Japan, to watch football, it was in the morning, like early in the morning, very early in the morning. The Super Bowl was at 9:30 in the morning, like that's, so games were like, we didn't really get to watch them, but, so you basically woke up and you looked at your scores and you're like, all right, cool. Like that's how it was. And then you got to go into work and talk shit, so that was kind of how I got started. And that was in 2011. But I've had a blast, I kept it kind of going after I got out of the military. My brother-in-law had started a league, and it was like, and we're still going. This is like I consider this my home league. We actually do the live draft at my brother-in-law's house. It's just a 10-man redraft league, but we get 2 keepers, which is kind of fun, and I get to keep CJ Stroud in like the last round, so I'm pretty hyped about that. Fantasy has just brought a lot of joy to my life. Getting to meet really good people, getting to do stuff like this. I do a lot of the more of the behind the scenes stuff now for the sports affiliation. That's kind of my role now. But these guys do more of the content. I do writing here and there, but I do a lot more of the producing, a lot more of the getting people together and making things happen. That's kind of my role for the sports affiliation now. But these 2 down here, man, they keep it going, man, with the content. So yeah, we're really blessed. The sports affiliation, well, how we built it, it's built around positivity, and inclusiveness, and that's how we try to do it. We just want to have fun, and help people, get into the industry, I think we've accomplished that. So we're having fun. That's all that really matters.
Awesome. Well, great segue there. Obviously, you're very good at this. Perfect segues. We go into now that you guys have been playing for a while. You've done different genres, different sports, and for Evan as well. Talk about this putting together of the sports affiliation. What do you guys? What do you specialize in? What is your niche? What is your thing? Who else is involved other than you three that are a part of this? And talk about the website and everything you guys do, Twitter and Instagram, what all you're about. What does the sports affiliation mean to you guys? What does it mean to the fan out there, and why they should be following you guys? I know why, but you guys can tell.
I just want to say I think our niche is relationship building. Like, I think that's what our niche is. It's like we truly appreciate the people that we get to talk to. We appreciate the people that work with us. We appreciate, the time that, I feel like that's kind of how we've been trying to build our community, like, enjoying our time with people. Like, that's what we like to do, and if we can bring content and, like I said, we all like to play fantasy football, and we got some people that like to play fantasy baseball. We got some people that do, they've been doing the basketball. Like it's just been a fun grind, and getting to meet the people that we've kind of got to meet and get to talk to and build relationships with, like me getting to pick up Scott Angle at the airport. Like, that's like, that's unreal, having, Greg Kellogg, he does a weekly show for, like, that's, an inaugural, fantasy Hall of Fame writer. Like, I feel like we just kind of been able to build relationships the right way, and we've been blessed by the people that have kind of come into our community. So, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of our niche, I would say.
Yeah. Evan, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I think and I'll say about these two guys, I try to function in this way as well, but, these two guys right here are more concerned with promoting other people than themselves.
I attest to that.
While at the same time, right? Anytime that we're selfless as people, we're also kind of selfish, but in the right way. And I think that really kind of is just the epitome of the people that we are and the people that we attract to our community. And by doing so, it puts our name out there without even trying to promote it. And like JC said, we're all about our relationships. And as far as the niche goes, obviously everybody loves football, and so do we. But we've got a heck of a community, a little bit of baseball. We've got a lot of basketball. I know we're trying to turn the corner, and Iggy will probably agree with this, that the basketball market, we've got, some guys, Rico and Dante and Coach and myself and Iggy.
And
Roxanne. We've got, not to mention, what we got in, Roxanne and Wendy and Carla. We've been able to be fortunate enough to add some wonderful women, into our community as well. And we all know there's a lot of great women out here in football and other sports, doing great work. But the fact that we have, the basketball side of things, I think that's a niche that we're looking at getting into, because we have so many great minds in a small community that everybody likes football, but a few of us really, really like basketball. But overall, fantasy football obviously is really what we're looking at, right? We want to get going on doing our own, draft rankings, guides, if you will, advice for people's teams, and same kind of thing within basketball. And then the gambling side of thing, that's a big thing for us, is putting out our daily bets. We just started a new Discord at the Sports Affiliation, trying to bring some people into there and really kind of generate a community within there that we can kind of establish ourselves as a, betting community, also a fantasy community there. But, we kind of dabble in a little bit of everything, if you will, right? And I can say, honestly, we're still kind of maneuvering into what really works for us, but we've got a lot of different things going on. And we're just enjoying the ride as we do it.
Perfect. Love it. Iggy, well, other than you being a part of this, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're awesome.
He's super.
And the hair, if that isn't that's like a staple here.
Yeah,
trademarked.
Trademark the hair.
I cut the hair right after the expo, and I feel like it's already back to the same length.
It doesn't look like it's changed much. But you can talk about what your thoughts are on the sports affiliation and why we all love you and you guys. And what a great job you guys do in this industry.
When I first got to the expo, I guess 3 years ago, I was nervous. I was just somebody on Twitter. I knew that I loved fantasy football, and I knew, Bob was already liked me before I went to the expo, was commenting on my stuff. I was like, man, you got a guy here that's won an FSWA award, commenting on this little guy from nowhere, Colorado. And when you get there, like it's hard if you're in the community. It's hard not to get nervous seeing Scott Fish. That's hard not to get nervous seeing Bob Harris or Mike Clay or any of read their content and support. I would even Nate Markle, man. Fantasy and Franks, I was gobbling up their content before I even was there. So it is, but it's so inclusiveness, and that was, I think, a big part of it from the TSA. Is like we just wanted, I wanted to take that feeling of inclusiveness and everybody hanging out and everybody wanting to hear your story and talk about how long you've been playing fantasy football and your thoughts for the upcoming year. It's just such like an inviting feeling. And that just was kind of my people. I realized that's kind of who I've been my whole life. I was the guy trying to get, punk rockers hanging out with the Sunday school guys, hanging out with the band nerds, and hanging out with the jocks. I've always been that way, right? Fantasy football is kind of that way. We all love this thing. Everybody's super nice. You can't get 1,000 people or close to 1,000 people and not have people be, you can't have a competitive flag football game and it not get out of hand without
and cornhole and beer pong and
beer pong, cornhole. We have all these competitive things, but people still overall talk to you. I mean, you caught up in a rainstorm. Andy Barron's sit there and talk to you. Jim Coventry sit there and talk to you like they've known you for 10, 20 years, And so that's what we wanted to get. And we all did come from another company, and they showed us some things, but the positivity wasn't there. It was just constantly heckling us and heckling people and kicking people out. And I was like, man, I don't really want to be involved with something like that, and we created our own thing from there. And kind of used, like I said, Indy, Carla, all came from the expo, meeting people. Anthony Fish does a great Start Sit article. Met him at the expo, just came up. We started talking to him, hung out with us all weekend. Anthony Juharis, man, one of the smartest fantasy football mans I know. Won fantasy football sevens league. We had 6 leagues, a total of 100 and whatever that is, 32 people. And he won one of those. Just a great combination of people. We hung out with him all weekend as well. And that's just kind of how, to me, what the sports affiliation is, how it came about, what it's really about. And the expo is a big part of it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, agree. 100%. The expo is a big part of it.
Beautiful. No, and again, appreciate you guys saying those kind words. So let's talk about the expo, which you've kind of already done. A couple of you been, one or two. Evan, you've been to one, right, or no?
I have not been to one, so I was going to say I am a rookie on the panel here. So I have not been.
Yes.
Yes, I will be there for sure. Maybe we'll have my 17-year-old son, who's becoming quite obsessed with fantasy football as well. He'll be getting ready to go to. He'll be getting ready to go to college, but I think he'll be free to still go. So I haven't quite planned with him yet, but hopefully he can come because these guys know he's kind of a chip off the old block when it comes to competition in sports, and hoping I can bring him with me. But I'm excited, man. I mean, I love being around it. I can't wait to meet all the great people, man.
You just read the syllabus the first class anyway, so he can.
We can write him a note. We'll just write him a note. Dear teacher, sign
Bob,
Evan
family at the expo.
There we go. Perfect. I think he'll be all right. Yeah. So I plan on having him there. So I'm excited. He wants to go. I mean, he interacts with some of these guys, and I mean, we've heard it so far this whole time, right? The positivity, the kind of people, the icons, if you will, this industry that don't act like they're big like that. I think it's really cool when you can get that, especially one-on-one. We get it on the platform, but to get that in person and meet some of these guys that I can say, getting to meet Jim Coventry, right? Seeing these guys, getting to meet you, Bob, I've talked to you, but it's like, cool. Face to face, it's kind of that celebrity moment, but it's humbling to even get to go and see all these people. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And, again, and people are always like, oh, Bob, thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that and helping us and guiding us. And I was like, I'm just paying this forward from the people who did it for me. Greg Kellogg was one of those people. Like when I got, I started writing my consistency stuff back in 2002 and started, writing for sites, and then actually got in like invited to my first expert league. And I know Greg was in it, Howard Bender was in it. And, again, I was the same way. I was again, we weren't doing this live face to face. That would have been even cooler. But just the fact that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm drafting with these guys. These guys are like my idols. It was just, unbelievable. And then, like you said, you meet them years later, and you're just like, oh, they're just like you and I. I mean, we're all the same people. Some of us just been around longer at this, and have a little more street cred. But you guys will get there, and 10, 15 years from now, you'll be in my shoes, and you guys will be like, oh yeah, well, we brought along and this person and that person. You've already talked about some of those, Carla and Wendy, and that's what you guys have been doing. What I did, back then, and appreciate you guys, bringing that all through. And that's what always excites me about this year is how many new people we do have coming. I mean, I look at this list of who the booths, who's at what booth right now. Of course, you guys will be in booth 14, so that's awesome. But Green Gridiron, Legacy Football, Fast Draft, Smash Up Sports, Generations, yeah. Fantasy Zone, we haven't even interviewed them. They're coming. Trophy Tiers. We got a couple betting ones, Hulk Bets and DFS and Donuts is coming. Dynasty Decks, Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network, Extreme Fantasy Football, Surf Football, the League Winners. And then, of course, now we have Sunday Dreamers Club. Okay, we'll give her a slide because that's Casey. But that, I'm going to say, that's almost half are new people, new sites, new exciting things. And I think that's what's awesome because I can see you guys and the rest of this industry just taking them under the wing and come be a part of this, because next year they'll be that group in, bringing in the new rookies for next year. And I think that's what makes it so fun and exciting is that ability to get new people to come just from hearing about it, and every one of these that I've talked to, whether I met them at FSGA or, met them online, they've said, whether it's you folks have been talking to them or they see you and, and then somebody told me about this and somebody told me about that. And then everybody says, come to the Expo. Yep. So like I said, it's just awesome. This community is awesome. We deeply appreciate you guys. So let's talk about 2024 coming up here, August 9th through the 11th. How many days? What, 109?
109 days, baby. Countdown is on.
Yeah, my official countdown as well as official marketing department. Very excited about that. So talk about 2024, guys. What do you got planned other than bringing Evan and his son in this year to Canton, Ohio? Anything else new and exciting that the people need to know about Sports Affiliation at booth number 14?
So I think the big thing right now is, we're getting the Discord going. That's going to be a big part of what we're kind of doing. Like I said, we want to build that community. It's kind of hard to build. I feel like it's really not a great way to build a community on Twitter. It's great to promote, great to, go out there and promote other people and do stuff on Twitter. But it would be nice to build a community. We have the website. We're going to get that going. We're actually going to be building a sports, not only a shirt, apparel, but, swag kind of brand. By the way. Thank you. We're going to be getting a lot of other stuff too. I mean, we're going to be trying to do fun, crazy stuff. I have a shirt that we made with Ricky Williams on it. It's got weed, it says Miami's Vice on it. It's just supposed to be something kind of funny. Like we want to do some fun stuff. I got one with Jordan Addison, and he's driving in the when he got in trouble when he was driving around his Ferrari when he was doing 160. It says Jordan Addison, take the wheel. I want to just kind of do some fun stuff like that. I got one that I thought would be fun, and it says your fantasy team got Moss, and it's the Randy Moss, at the Green Bay game when he's mooning the crowd. So I got some fun stuff. I mean, we're gonna try to make this brand a fun. Like I said, we're a fun brand, man. We just want to have
sure.
fun. We want to play fantasy. We want to get some betting done. So that's kind of what we're trying to get into. 2025 is I feel like it's gonna be our fun big grow year. But like I said, another thing about this year is just build more relationships. Like I think that's something that we're trying to do, and I think the Discord's gonna help that. Building the community and make it fun.
And then one thing I definitely know, usually I sell my IDP draft kit. It's actually all if I go through top tiers of every position, including kickers, including defensive and special teams. But this year we're going to give it away for free once we get it going and just have a PDF out there. You can go download it straight off the website this year. And if you join Fantasy Football Sevens, it's always been included in the package. One year we even had Bob's Consistency Guide given away for free as well. So,
and you can have whatever you need for that as well, of course, again this year. Love that. Love your
overall player in Fantasy Football Sevens, Bob. Tough division you were in over there with Jorge.
As I say, yeah. Then the guy to win it all was in my division.
He was from Brazil. I had to send a gift package to Brazil the second year in a row. Let me tell you something. 16-team league redraft. He's the only person I've ever seen in 15 years of this format win back-to-back years. It's amazing. So that's awesome.
Good for him.
And then
he's studying well.
Football's good. And he's in Brazil. I mean, they put the game in Brazil.
Hey, the Brazilian guys are the guys who were reached out to me about creating an IDP consistency model, like 5 or 6 years ago. And so they know their football down there, man. They're all about it.
They definitely do. But yeah, that was
apparently those are the guys that we. Those are the guys we need to start following. The guys in Brazil are the ones we need to get in our corner over here. Then I mean, repeating in anything is hard, but a 16-team league, man, that's quite impressive to repeat as champs. But yeah, I will say too, the NFL draft coming up. JC and Greg are going to be hosting all 3 days, coverage of that going on this year. So that'll kind of be the first time we get to really entertain all of that, right, for the full 3 days and really cover all of it to kind of kick things off. Fantasy's obviously year round, but I think the draft really kind of turns that corner, right? Getting to see those landing spots where guys are really going to go. And that's where we can really start talking about, the rookies and changes and guys that are sleepers and whatnot. So I think that's a fun start to our season, is that 3 days of draft coverage. So, keep your eye out for that. And kind of as we tune into the rest of the season, man, is, having those rankings, having the draft advice, having fantasy team advice, having the start sit show, some of the things that we've kind of tested but not maybe had going consistently, really getting those things set in place while we also network with more people, right? And kind of build these shows with them. And hopefully at the end of this 2024, we'll really have solidified, what we like to do, kind of really what our niche is in the fantasy football community, because there's just so many ways to go about it, right? There's so many people, so many ideas, and we've gotten to do a lot of it. It's been fun, but now really nailing it down and who we're doing it with, what we're doing, having it consistent. And I think that's what a lot of 2024 for us is going to be, right? Is really nailing down what we do throughout the year and then just building on that as we move forward. But
love it.
I'm going to ask you,
all right. Go ahead.
Cleveland has 5 draft picks this year. Do you think they're going to trade back and try to pick up more, or what do you anticipate with Cleveland's 5 draft?
Well, I'm kind of hoping that they'll trade Deshaun Watson for a number 1 pick and get a quarterback that cares about being in Cleveland. But beyond that,
up to Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's fine. If we're trading Indianapolis, we'll take a pick. No, I mean, they have a very good team. I would love to see them put it all together. Last year they had the defense and had to go through 5-6 quarterbacks and still made the playoffs. So Schwartz is doing an amazing job with the defense there. They kept Zadarius. They still have Miles. They've got most of the defense intact. If Chubb can be even 80% healthy, I'd be happy, or 80% of his former self. But they also picked up some decent, fill-in guys, Deonta Foreman and Nyheim Hines, and you still have Jerome Ford. So, if Chubb can be second half, just be healthy then. But it's all going to live and die on Deshaun Watson. He's got to play every game. He's got to play at a good level. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be Deshaun Watson from 3 or 4 years ago in Houston. Just be above average. Just don't kill us. Then don't be injured and don't whine about it. Be a man, play the game, prove that you're good and why we gave you way too much money. Because, dude, if he could win a Super Bowl in Cleveland, they would freaking build a statue of him in a heartbeat.
With gold.
Regardless of what his past is about. So, I don't know what they're going to do, but, I like their upper management. Barry's have done a great job. If they can just keep Hazlitt's fingers out of everything, because he screws things up when he picks what he wants to pick. Need I say Johnny Football and Deshaun Watson. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm also always got to be keep the expectations super low and hope that they can exceed them like they did last year. But yeah, I think they've got a good chance. There's certainly some shifting going on in the AFC with Buffalo losing a lot of talent.
Oh yeah.
KC is, Kelsey's not getting any younger. Yeah, so things are starting to shift. But the problem is they're in the damn toughest division in the league now with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati.
Hey, I got a question on that, Bob. Do you think that division winners should get the home game in that case, or should Cleveland be the team last year that had a home game with a better record? Because they probably win that game if they get a home game, right?
Possibly, yeah. I think they've got too many in again. They're starting to become the NHL, and everybody and their mom gets a playoff game. But I guess that gets you in. At least it gives you a shot of winning something. But I think the division winners definitely need to have a home game. But I also believe that who knows? They got outplayed, they got outcoached. Right. They should never have gotten beaten that badly, but they did. So, we'll see what happens. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this tonight. Thank you for being a part of this for the last number of years. We love you absolutely. Tell everybody, each one of you, where they can find you guys on Twitter, Facebook, your websites, all that, and then we'll go one by one, and then we'll take it out from there. So, all right, JC, go ahead.
You can find me at JC Money Design on Twitter. You can find us at the Sports Affiliate on Twitter, YouTube. We have the Discord now. Like Evan was saying, the next 3 days of the draft, we're going to have our Discord open for people to talk about the draft. But yeah, find us at thesportsaffiliation.com. That's where we have all of our content on our website. We will be having our merch shop up soon, but yeah, find us at the Expo booth 14, baby.
Love it. Evan?
Yeah, like JC said, I myself at SoCal Ball Nerd. You can find me pretty active on Twitter at all hours, at all times, whenever something pops in, or whenever I might be in the lab, as we like to call it, right? Looking at different bets. You'll see me up pretty late at night out there tweeting if you look at the time of the tweet. And we also have a TikTok, Sports Affiliation on TikTok as well. So we got the YouTube, the Twitter, the website, TikTok. We just got the Discord going. Everything is pretty much under the Sports Affiliation. So looking to expand all those. And yeah, you see my handle right there, and hit me up anytime. Looking forward, booth 14, man. Looking forward to meeting a lot of people and really continue to build not just, the Sports Affiliation, but the community as a whole.
Love it. Love it. Iggy, take us out, buddy.
Yeah, man. You heard all of our places to find us. I do want to say, you get these awesome bags. I got my black bag behind there, the blue bag in front. I'll put whatever. What's the colors this year? Is it
this year? The Browns. So orange and brown, the Cleveland Brown colors. Yeah, next year we've already determined it will be the Detroit Lions. So we're going from dark colors to light colors back to back. So, this year Browns, next year Lions. So we'll just keep switching back and forth.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, we'll do Vikings some year, I promise. And Packers. Maybe we'll do Vikings and Packers back to back. That'd be fun.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
Go the yellow Packers, and then we'll have the purple Vikings, and there'll be our light and darts for the next time. So we'll see what we can do. So.
IDP_Iggy across most of my platforms. And you'll find me doing a lot more fantasy football sevens content as soon as the draft is over.
Yep, definitely. Everybody check that out. That's a great league to be in. Great support and cause there. Iggy, we love you for doing that. So I'll definitely be a part of that. We'll definitely be giving away some consistency guides, which should be out in a couple weeks. Working on that. As soon as the draft ends, we start finalizing that bad boy. So maybe about a week and a half from now, that'll be out on Amazon, and we'll start talking all about consistency.
Yes.
Some great stuff coming out. Some interesting information from some players that may surprise you. Are a lot more consistent than you think they were, and some who were not. I'm looking at you, Lamar Jackson. All right, so for JC, Evan, Iggy, everybody at the Sports Affiliation, we love you. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Check out all this stuff on the outro so you can see about following the Fantasy Football Expo. So for the Sports Affiliation, I'm Bob Lund. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.